Welcome to Literary AF Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to a very sexy episode.
You startled me.
Oh, you shook me out of my sexy voice. Now I'm just normal Sheldon. Hey, welcome to Literary AF. My name is Normal Sheldon,
I'm Danny.
and we're here today to talk about books.
Yeah, books.
What's on our agenda for today, Danny?
For today, I've got Band Sinister by K.J. Charles,
Okay.
and I've got Galaxies and Oceans by N.R. Walker.
Okay, so when you say Band Sinister, is it like band like a music band, or like band like you're not allowed in this GameStop anymore?
It's banned like a group of people, I
Ah.
think. I'm pretty sure.
Cool. All right, well let's jump right into it, shall we?
All right. Well, I'm just gonna start by reading the back of the book.
Ooh, which one is this?
This is Band Sinister. I'm gonna do Band Sinister first because I read that one first,
Okay.
and then I read Galaxies and Oceans more recently, so I'll do that one last.
Okay.
Sir Philip Rookwood is the disgrace of the county. He's a rake and an atheist, and the rumors of his Hellfire Club, the murder, can only be spoken in whispers.
Ooh, a
Guy
ratheist. Sorry. go on.
Guy Frisbee and his sister Amanda live in the rural seclusion after a family scandal.
Excuse me. Sorry, did you say Guy Frisbee?
Guy Frisbee.
All right, keep going.
When Amanda breaks her leg in a riding accident, she's forced to recuperate at Rookwood Hall, where Sir Philip is hosting the murder. Guy rushes to protect her, but the murder aren't what he expects. They're educated, fascinating people, and the notorious Sir Philip turns out to be charming and kind, and dangerously attractive.
Of course.
In this private space where anything goes, the longings Guy has stifled all his life are impossible to resist, and so is Philip. But all too soon, the rural rumor mill threatens both Guy and Amanda. The innocent country gentleman has lost his heart to the bastard baronet, but does he dare lose his reputation too?
Ooh.
So, this is a Regency romance.
Okay.
Gay Regency romance, obviously.
All right, but let's talk about Guy Frisbee first.
Guy Frisbee, yep.
Is his name like Frisbee, like the Frisbee?
Frisby.
Oh, okay. So, not quite Frisbee.
Oh, is that...
Yeah, I think that's how you spell Frisbee, like
Okay.
the throwing device.
Because I definitely thought of the throwing toy the
Maybe
entire
that's-
time I was reading this book.
Maybe he invented it. Maybe that's like his family legacy.
I don't think so.
At any point in the book, does he throw like
No.
a plate at somebody and then it like
There's-
coasts in the air? And then he realizes, hey.
Light bulb moment? No, that does not happen at any point in this book. Alright, so, I don't even know where to start with this. I like this book.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads.
Whoa, that's a perfect book.
I mean, I think we talked about this last time. I'm not a big fan of the 5-star scale because there's no in between I really like this book and this book was the best book in the world.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe like a 4.5, which I rounded up, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I didn't save any quotes or anything out of this. I was trying to actually I really liked it, so I just read right through it without taking any notes or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have anything specific to pull out and talk about. But this book basically opens with Guy and Amanda. Amanda has written a book, and it's it's a gothic novel featuring slightly off versions of Philip Rookwood and like his murder, his friends. They all have like slightly altered names, and like Rookwood Manor is called Darkwood Manor or something, and it's just like a super ridiculous like caricature of all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And Guy is like afraid that if they find out who wrote this book, they're gonna get in a lot of trouble because it's not painted in the best light. Of course, it's like a over-the-top dramatic gothic novel. So they decide to publish the book under just the moniker A Lady, which I believe Jane Austen was originally published under, was just Pride and Prejudice by a Lady.
Yeah, I can't remember what her thing was.
I think that was it. And anyways, she ends up going over to Rookwood. What is it called here? Is it Rookwood Hall? Yeah, it's Rookwood Hall. She goes over there to kind of like scout them out for her next book, to give her, like, ideas of what she wants to write about.
Mm-hmm.
But the horse spooks, and she falls off, and she breaks her leg. Which we actually mentioned in the last episode. Basically, anytime a Victorian lady goes outside, they get sick or they get hurt. But she legitimately breaks her leg. Like, her femur snaps through the skin, and she gets really sick. And they end up taking her into Rookwood Hall, and they send for Guy, and he's really upset about this, because obviously Philip and his friends have a terrible reputation as it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors that, like, his friend Corvin killed a guy. There's rumors that they have orgies all the time, and just, it's a bad time for proper Victorian people.
Mm-hmm.
And so his first instinct is, well, we gotta get Amanda out of here before we can ruin what's left of her reputation, because they have I think like 8 years before, their mother actually ran off with Rookwood's older brother. So there's like a taint on both families' reputations, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
And because of this, Guy and Amanda have been shunned from society because of what their mother did. And so now they just kind of live in seclusion.
Oh, okay.
And Guy he blames the family for what happened. So he starts off this book just hating Philip just because of who he is, basically. And they can't move Amanda out of the manor because of the way her bone broke. If they jostle her too much, the doctor thinks that they could puncture an artery, basically, if they wiggle it around. Yeah. So they have to leave her in the manor for weeks to heal, and Guy won't leave her alone, so he spends weeks in the manor. So the tropes here are obviously like a enemies to lovers kind of thing. There's a forced proximity trope, and all good stuff, of course.
Sure.
I don't want to go into it too much, because it should be read, and I really like it. But basically, of course, all the bad people living in the house don't turn out to be as evil as Guy originally anticipates.
Mm-hmm.
There's some musicians, and there's an artist who paints, like, caricatures of politicians and stuff, so he just has a reputation as a bad guy just because he's going against the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Corvin, who has a reputation as, like, a womanizer, but it turns out the only time he really, like, ruined a woman's reputation is when she asked him to, because she was engaged to a horrible man.
Okay.
And their solution was, if he has a scandal with her, the guy's gonna break off the engagement, and she'll be free, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, a lot of this is just, reputations aren't everything, There's more to it than, I guess, what people say. This has a very classic feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it reminded me a lot of Jane Austen.
Okay.
Just obviously not written in the same style, because I found Jane Austen books are really good, but they're a bit of a chore to read, in my opinion.
Okay.
This was obviously way easier. Did you ever read anything by Georgette Heyer?
I don't think so.
She writes a lot of I think she's dead now. But she wrote a lot of classic Regency romances.
Okay.
And everything I've read about this book, like for reviews and for people talking about it, this was like heavily inspired by Georgette Heyer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it makes me want to check those out, because they have those are, whenever you ask, like, I really like Jane Austen, what do you think I should read next? People will usually tell you to check out Georgette Heyer.
Mm-hmm.
They were written in the 1920s, so they're more modern, of course, but I think she's got The Grand Sophie and Frederica are her big ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I might check those out and read it for podcast eventually, but anyways, that's Band Sinister, a gay Regency romance that was published late last year, I think. So it was, it's relatively new. And highly recommended. Very good.
So sorry, I've been researching this whole time. So apparently her first book was by a lady, but then most of them were published under from the author of Pride and Prejudice.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that, like, by a lady was in there at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get into this second book that I read. As of recording this, I actually finished this book this morning.
Okay.
I read it in about two sittings. I started it last night, read for about an hour, and then I finished it all off this morning.
Okay.
Neither of these books are, like, super long. Band Sinister is, like, 250 pages, I think. 240 pages for Band Sinister.
Okay.
And Galaxies and Oceans is, I think, like, 302 or something close to that.
Okay.
So, Galaxies and Oceans is a modern romance. It's contemporary, written by N.R. Walker.
Okay.
I think this one actually also came out last year, like late 2018. I'll read the back of this one for you. Seizing his one chance to escape, Ethan Hosking leaves his violent ex-boyfriend, leaves his entire life, and walks into the path of a raging bushfire. Desperate to start over, a new man named Aubrey Hobbs walks out of the fire-ravaged forest alive and alone. With no ID and no money, nothing but his grandfather's telescope, he goes where the Southern Cross leads him. Patrick Carney is the resident lighthouse keeper in Hadley Cove, a small town on the remote Kangaroo Island off the coast of South Australia.
Mm-hmm.
After the tragic death of his lover 4 years ago, he lives a solitary life, just him, a tabby cat, the Indian and Southern Oceans, and a whole lot of loneliness. He's content with his life until a stranger shows up in town and turns Patrick's head. Patrick never expected to be interested in anyone else. Aubrey never expected to be happy. Between Aubrey's love of the stars and Patrick's love of the ocean, these two fragile hearts must navigate new waters. If they can weather the storm of their past, they could very well have a love story that eclipses everything. I really like this book.
Okay.
I think I put in my review, like, this is one of the books that, this will probably be on my top 10 books that I've read this year, if not at the top. The year is still young, but this was originally, I can't obviously show this on a podcast, but this was a case of, like, judging a book by its cover.
Okay.
I really thought this cover was gorgeous, so I read the description and I bought it, and I'd heard the reviews on it are really good, but I find reviews on Goodreads can be really tricky.
Yeah.
At least in the books that I look at reviews for, half of them are just GIFs.
Oh, okay.
Like, just quotes and GIFs, and don't actually say anything about the book, but this one is really good. It's written in a first-person perspective.
Okay.
Which is not my preferred. I prefer third-person past tense, which I feel like is usually the standard, at least for romance novels.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is first-person past tense, and it alternates between point of views from each character every chapter. So it'll be Aubrey 1, Patrick 2, Aubrey 3, Patrick 4 kind of thing.
Okay.
And this book was... It was beautiful. It's just the way it's written, the story itself. It's gorgeous. I really liked the writing.
Mm-hmm.
It was elegant without being too much. 'Cause I don't have a lot of time for, like, super prosy, drifting on and on kind of flowery writing, I guess.
Okay.
But I felt this was beautiful without being too much, which was nice. Let me just check my review here, because I'm just gonna say the words beautiful over and over and over again. So that was my general opinion of this book. So the book opens with Aubrey, who was going by Ethan at the time. He finds an opportunity to escape his super abusive ex-boyfriend, who is a politician, like a public figure. And he basically takes his wallet, he takes his phone, and he takes some other stuff and throws it into the bushfire and runs away on foot kind of thing. So everybody just assumes he dies in the fire that day.
Mm-hmm.
And he assumes the name of his grandfather, Aubrey Hobbs. And he just he makes a living on the street, fixing things here and there to get some money for food. And it cuts to, I think, 6 months to a year later, where he finds himself in this small town. And he runs into Patrick. And Patrick's ex-boyfriend was a sailor who went missing at sea like 4 years ago.
Okay.
So a lot of this book is like, it's getting over grief. You know, you lose the person you thought you were going to be with forever. That's really rough. And a lot of it is working through that with Patrick. It's about Aubrey learning to trust somebody again after he has been hurt for so long. And it's just really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And with a lot of romance books, you get this point. I think it's called like a black moment or something. I don't remember what the actual term is. But usually one main character will do something awful to the other one. Like they lied, or they do something that they think is the right choice, but it's not, and the other one gets hurt. And there's usually just something that drives them apart at the climax of the book.
Yeah.
And then the resolution, they come back together, they work through whatever it is, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
With this one, that doesn't really happen. This whole book is just about falling in love again, making things work. There's no outstanding, like, somebody does something bad and they break apart. This is just very loving. There's conflicts and stuff like that, but none of it is between the relationship of the couple.
Oh, okay.
So I really like that, because you get tired of eventually, somebody lied even though they thought they were doing the right thing, and now they're fighting, and then they're gonna get together again. And just having a relationship work, well, still having problems, but not like the big thing like that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of rambling, but I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head.
Yeah,
So.
you don't want it to be perfect all the time, or just have the random misunderstanding. Sometimes you need a guy to just hang a dog.
There's no dog hanging in this book. None whatsoever. There's no evil curse. There's no Moors. This I would read again. I would not read Wuthering Heights.
What?
No.
Okay, well, we'll see in 200 years which book is still being talked about.
Do you think they're still going to be talking about Wuthering Heights in 2? I guess so.
Yeah, people still talk about the Odyssey, and that was like...
That is true.
2,000 years.
Didn't you read that one like last year?
Yep.
Oof. Anyways, I don't want to talk about it too much. Like, same with Band Sinister. Like, they came out last year, so it's not like Wuthering Heights or Pride and Prejudice where everybody knows the story, even if you haven't actually read the book. So, they're both really sweet. Mm-hmm. Galaxies and Oceans is a solid 5 out of 5. That would be a 10 out of 10 on a proper scale, not a Goodreads scale.
Okay.
Whereas Band Sinister is like a 8 or a 9. I'd give Galaxies and Oceans is like right up at the top. It's like my favorite thing that I've read this year.
What puts it above like all the rest of the books that you've read?
It's, I guess, just the way it was written, the way everything plays out.
Mm-hmm.
It's, the other stuff that I've read was good.
Mm-hmm.
This was just better.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find. This one, I almost cried multiple times throughout this book, because there were moments that were just extremely touching, and these are one of the, I guess, passages that I really enjoyed. Right on sunset, before the calm and beckoning ocean, as the stars began to shine, we stood before each other and promised each other forever. As it's written in the Galaxies and Oceans, I promise my heart to you, Patrick said, his eyes shining with tender hands. His eyes shining in tender hands. Maybe cut that out.
Oh, spoiler!
I'll maybe adjust that line, so...
We're not cutting anything out of this episode. It is staying.
No, it's gonna be
exactly
silent
as is.
for minutes.
5 minutes of silence.
No.
Followed by half a quote with cut that out.
Alright, I'll start this over. Right on sun.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Right on sunset, before the calm and beckoning ocean, as the stars began to shine, we stood before each other and promised each other forever. As it's written in the Galaxies and Oceans, I promise my heart to you, Patrick said with shining eyes. I blinked back happy tears, my heart completely full. May the stars forever guide us, and may this lighthouse bring us home.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice. So, I was sitting on the couch, trying not to cry in front of Dustin, because I thought it was really sweet. And I like when, like, books call back into the title of the book itself.
Yeah.
I always think that's kind of fun. I've forgotten what there is to talk about this by now. It's beautiful. Everybody should read it. Contemporary romance. 10 out of 10 stars.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Do you have any questions about either book?
If the characters from one book were to fight the characters from the other book, which one would win?
Interesting question.
Thank you.
Like fist fight or like
Fist fight.
Okay. Probably the characters from Galaxies and Oceans.
Oh, why?
Just Patrick is a lighthouse keeper, and he's described as being like tall and stocky and muscular.
Okay.
And like strong in general. Whereas the characters in Band Sinister are elegant Regency gentlemen.
Oh, they're dandies.
Yes.
Foppish men.
He could probably beat the crap out of them. No problem. He wouldn't even need Aubrey to help him. He could probably do it by himself.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other questions are there? No, I can't think of anything. All right. Well, should we wrap it up?
We can. I guess we're probably way under time, but we can wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll after we do some cuts, if there's any editing in this episode. I don't think there will be. It's been perfect so far.
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
Danny, where can people find us?
People can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Podbean, Literary AF. And on Twitter, I'm LiteraryAFPod.
And I am Sheldon Man.
And I'm also on Instagram under LiteraryAFPod, where I'm just posting pictures of books.
And do not follow the Instagram. Please, I'm begging you.
We also have Facebook, which I forgot to mention last time.
Just don't even go on the Facebook.
I don't really use it other than to just automatically post episodes, but we are on Facebook under Literary AF.
We also have private Discord server,
No.
and we have a Patreon, and we have a subscribe star. I think that's a thing.
What?
I don't know. And we have a subreddit, and
Nope.
we have a MySpace.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Is MySpace still a thing?
I think so, but I think it's like for music videos and stuff now.
Oh, weird.
We have a second YouTube channel where we put tutorials of how to put books on shelves.
Oh. I'm really good at that.
We have Etsy store opening up.
No.
We have our own private eBay server. I don't think that's a thing.
I don't think that's a thing.
We have a CSGO server.
No.
I don't know what CSGO is, but I've heard people
Counter-Strike?
talk about it.
Counter-Strike Go.
We have a Letterboxd account where we post about movies that are actually books. We have 4 Goodreads accounts between the two of us.
No.
We have I've been yammering on for a full minute. That's all we have. Don't follow anything else. Anything else claiming to be Literary AF is fake. Just the 30 things that I listed.
Somebody does have an Instagram under Literary AF, and they posted a single picture like 6 years ago.
Oh, that's really chill.
Yeah.
Very tight. Okay, well, follow us on stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next week, I'm going to be reading Jane Eyre.
Yes.
Or is it Eyre? Or is it Eyre?
Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre's. By Bronte, Miss
one of them.
Charlotte Bronte.
Charlotte Bronte?
Oh, fun fact. Apparently Charlotte Bronte hated Jane Austen.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Like,
just for fun.
Were they alive at the same time?
Nope. Or they might have been alive at the same time, but Bronte was like 40 years after Austen's stuff was published.
Yeah, because Austen was like 18, 19 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, she died around that time.
Yeah.
So, and then what are you reading in 2 weeks?
2 weeks, I'm not 100% sure yet. I want to try to...
Get it together. We're trying to let people read ahead.
I will...
The entire Redwall series.
No.
From start to finish.
Absolutely not.
All 71 books.
I think there's like 14 or 15.
71.
I want to try to read through Criminal Intentions by Cole McCade.
Okay.
But that is a 13-book series, and I'm on book 6.
Oh, okay, so we're going to be reading 6 books next week. So pay attention to that.
They're not super long, so I think I can get close to, if not get to it in 2 weeks.
Fun. All right, well, anyway, thanks for listening, and have yourselves a whatever week.
Yeah, bye.